Hello one and all, welcome to another instalment from the channel that is Jono's Graveyard Jaunts. Today I'm once again at Welford Road Cemetery on the outskirts of the city of Leicester. Now the first map shows where the county of Leicestershire sits in relation to the UK, and the second map shows where Leicester City sits in relation to the county of Leicestershire itself. Now whilst I was doing some research on this individual who features in today's video at the Leicester Records Office, I stumbled upon an old picture of Welford Road Cemetery showing the two stunning chapels that used to exist on the site before they were sadly pulled down in 1958. And I'll put a picture up showing the actual two chapels then and obviously now. Part of the enjoyment for me in making these videos, and hopefully you as the viewer, is getting to see these amazing gravestones, some of which are works of art, and also getting to look at some stunning buildings and locations. I especially love the old and ornate, which is one of the reasons I love Victorian architecture so much. The Victorians constructed their buildings, especially the facades, in a very decorative, quote-unquote shouty way, and by that I mean they were saying, I've essentially made a few quid and I want the world to know it, so we'll announce the fact with trumpets and violins through the very elaborate and ornate facades on the outside of the buildings that I own and have constructed. Now the person who features in today's video personifies and embodies that ethos in the buildings that he designed and constructed during that era. In today's video, there will be lots of visuals of really interesting buildings that were designed by this man. Now the person who features in today's video is a man by the name of Arthur Wakerley, who was an architect, politician, British businessman, and he also became the youngest Lord Mayor of Leicester at the time at the age of just 34 years old. Now all the buildings that we are going to visit in today's videos are classified as Grade 2 listed buildings. Now in order for a building in the UK to be designated as a Grade 2 listed building, it has to be, and I quote, a building of architectural and or historical significance. This man's tombstone at Welford Road Cemetery is also very elaborate and ornate, a small video clip of which appeared in one of my earlier vlogs. I shall be visiting the final resting place of Arthur Wakerley here also. He's actually buried at Welford Road Cemetery. Arthur Wakerley was born in Melton Mowbray on the 15th of May 1862, and he came to Leicester in his early 20s. Now Melton Mowbray is famous for its pork pies worldwide, amongst other things, which is essentially a savoury pie with pork in the middle and pastry on the outside. By the time Arthur was 22, he was in business as an architect. He became a Fellow of the Royal Institute of British Architects and the President for the Leicester Society of Architects. Arthur worked from a house at the corner of Mere Road and Wood Hill in Highfields, Leicester. 2 years later, his office was in Gallery Gate and later in the Marketplace in Leicester. Now by the time Arthur Wakerley had reached the age of 34, he became the Lord Mayor of Leicester. After his marriage to a lady by the name of Bertha Gunn of the Lodge, now South Lodge, Stonygate, he lived in Highfield Street where the first daughter Gwendolyn was born. This is the stunning South Lodge that Bertha Gunn, the wife of Arthur Wakerley, lived, and the area in is called Stonygate. As you can see, it's quite an impressive house. It's now a care home. Now Stonygate is a very affluent area and still is. It's full of wealthy industrialists and highly educated people. Historically, all the land was owned by the Quakers, who were Protestant Christians and in support of the temperance movement, which is again essentially an abstinence from alcohol. So it's a very, very affluent area, and you can tell by the building that Bertha was clearly from an affluent family. I mean, it's just a stunningly beautiful period building. In 1890, the family moved to London Road, and by 1896 the successful Wakerley had taken on an assistant, William Wells, and he had purchased Gedding Hall in Suffolk as a country retreat. This was an imposing manor house surrounded by a moat and set in 113 acres of land. In 1897, aged 34, Arthur Wakerley became Leicester's ever youngest mayor. Wakerley began to make his mark on Leicester as both an architect and a local politician, and some of the town's most distinctive buildings are his designed. The exotic-looking Turkey Cafe in Granby Street and the Crystal Palace-style former Singer sewing machine building in the High Street, which was built to commemorate the coronation of Edward VII.
The Turkey Cafe, guys, on Granby Street. It was completed in 1901, and it's in what we call the Art Nouveau style. And if you look at those tiles at the top, they were made at Royal Dalton. They're Caraware tiles. Royal Dalton was founded in 1815 in Stoke-on-Trent, which is the home of the potteries, and that's historically where they made all the really special pottery in the UK. And I'll put some pictures up showing the special buildings they used to make them in. Quite interesting. So this is the jewel in the crown for me, designed by Arthur Wakerley, and people were impressed by its Orientalism at the time.
Now, Wakerley's two greatest achievements were the creation of the suburb of North Evington and his nationally acclaimed design for a low-cost, well-built council house. He had laid out and designed streets and buildings in all parts of Leicester, but in North Evington he had greater scope, and he was able to buy much of the land he needed. His vision essentially was for a self-sufficient community with decent housing, workplaces close by and open spaces. He laid out 2.5 miles of road around Spinney Hill Park, designed houses, factories, police stations and fire stations, and even a market hall.
So here is, guys, what was once the Ashfordby Police and Fire Station, designed by Arthur Wakerley and opened in 1899. Now, in those days, obviously a policeman's job was not just to solve crime, but they had the responsibility of going round and actually lighting up the street-fired gas lamps, which I thought was quite interesting. But it's just a stunning piece of architecture, isn't it? And there's the sign up there, we'll zoom in on it, that says 1899. So this was closed in 2005. It's just stunning. There's the entrance. I'll put up some original photographs actually, so you can compare what it looked like in its heyday. And it's just a stunning building. It's obviously Grade 2 listed, as all the buildings are that we'll be visiting today. So this is once Ashfordby Police and Fire Station, designed by the legendary architect Arthur Wakerley. So here's the house that Arthur Wakerley lived in. Guys, it's on Gwendolyn Road. He lived here from 1915 until his death 16 years later. It was built in the art and craft style. We'll have a look at the house in a minute. But he also built a house for, I believe it was his daughter in the grounds, and that's the house, timber frame, that he built for her in these grounds. And we'll just let you read what it says about him, and then we'll have a look at the house. He furnished it with beautiful antiques and period ornaments at the time. And here's the great man himself, who's buried in Welford Cemetery. So this is outside of the house that he lived in on Gwendolyn Road. As I say, we'll have a look at the house in a minute. So if you do ever come to Leicester and you want to view it, just look for this big orange sign outside the house. Here's the stunning house Arthur Wakerley lived in the arts and crafts style from 1915 on Gwendolyn Road in Leicester. So it's a very large property, and there are grounds at the back where obviously he built that timber framed house for his daughter. So guys, we're on Linton Street in North Evington in Leicester, and what we're looking at here is their famous Wakerley Council House. Those long roofs were called cat slide roofs. Now these could be built for £299 at the time. They had 2 bedrooms upstairs, a single bedroom downstairs, a WC and a coal house. and they were recognised nationally and adopted and replicated in Glasgow and various other parts of the country. And remember guys, this is a council house, and it's also a grade 2 listed building because it's historical significance, and the fact that it was designed by the great man himself, Arthur Wakerley. So this is the Wakerley Council House. This was another building designed by Arthur Wakerley, and he gave it to the Royal Society for the Blind, and it's on the corner of Gedding Road and Gwendolyn Road, just there. It's called Hunter's Lodge, and we'll go around the side and you'll see a plaque dedicated, I think it's to Mrs. Arthur Wakerley actually, but we're going to have a look at that. This is the end of the building. I've just seen been on that sign, so there we are. Wycliffe Hall for the Blind, opened AD 1906 by Mrs. Arthur Wakerley. Edwin Crewe, chairman of the committee. He's obviously chairman of the committee for the blind, so this is given over by Arthur Wakerley. He was a very successful, wealthy businessman, but he was also a great philanthropist, giving away lots of land and lots of buildings for needy causes. Here we are guys, at the final resting place of Arthur Wakerley, renowned Leicester architect. It's really hard to read the writing because it's weathered, and obviously it's all in black, coupled with the sunlight on the stone. It's very difficult, so what I'll do is I'll just leave it there for a while and let you guys read it, and then we'll just pan up so you can get all of the details. What's interesting is I'm coming up to the middle of the stone. We've got two figures either side, and understand they're both angels. And what I'll do is I'll let you just read what it says on the stone itself, and then we'll go around the side so you can see the figures that are embedded in the stone, which I really like the detail here. So there we are guys. So there's one either side. We'll go around the other side. I haven't got the gimbal with me, so I'm going to try and make it as steady as I possibly can. So again, we've got another mirror image of the other side. So this is the final resting place of the legendary architect Arthur Wakerley. His most obviously prominent buildings, or memorable, certainly the Turkey Cafe and the Wakerley Council House, and also the Singer building, which was the home of the Singer sewing machine. Now Leicester in the 50s was the third most affluent city in Europe, renowned for its hosiery, footwear and light engineering. So Singer sewing machines would have been instrumental in certainly two of those industries. That concludes the video guys. Thank you for watching. Can I please ask you to like and subscribe, and obviously put any recommendations for videos in the comments section. Thank you.